First, giving all praises and honor to our Father, Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Double honors to my King, my Lord, our Shepherd, KD, the Water King, for edifying the Royal House of David family in this truth. Okay, the water for always keeping us prepared, keeping us in the know, keep us edified as we prepare to exit stage left. The Water King for living righteous. The Water King for being in your word and knowing your word and also living by it. Shalom to my Royal House of David family. My name is Mahir Malachi, and welcome to the Aqua channel, Daughters with Daggers, where we continuously seek edification from the truth of the scriptures. Okay, so today, Aquas, we're drawing near to getting out of this captivity. So we're preparing each day. And as we have been watching KD videos, we've been watching in our family, we're noticing that we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, people are getting plucked out, people are getting taken away. Our Father is purging our Royal House of David of people that are just standing by. They are just spectators. They are just there to stick around and see, what's going to happen. What peace do they get? It's not about our Father. It's about what they going to get out of it and what they can get. So they're just sitting around. They're just listening to the videos. They listen to KD videos. They listen to our family from the Royal House of David videos. And they not really taking in what they're listening to. They're just listening, just to be listening. So there's no doing, So today, and we're going to talk about listening, not just being listeners, not just hearing what our Father has to say, but also doing what our Father tells us to do. Sometimes I think we forget that as Hebrew Israelites, that it's good to hear. Yes, you want to hear the word. However, he wants us to not just do that, but he wants us to listen and learn and live the word. Do what his word says. Okay, that's how he loves us. He loves us when we are obedient to his word and we're doing what he tells us to do. Okay, so today we're going to talk about being not just hearers alone, but also doers. I hear people say, "Oh, I'm listening." When I'm talking to, some friends or even family members, they always say, "I hear you. I'm listening." But yet you're not listening to the wise counsel. Okay, I'm Salat. You're listening to the wise counsel, but you're not following the words that are being provided to you to help you, which comes from our Father's word, right? So the word that we're giving you, the teachings, the time that everybody's pouring into our family, there's a lot of people that are just listening to it. I hear you. I'm listening, but he doesn't go just by that. He wants to make sure you're doing. It comes a time in our life that we need to, our minds right now should already be transformed. We should be renewed, and we should already be ready and understanding and following what our Father wants us to do. Okay, he already turned his back on us. That's why we're in this captivity now, because we weren't doing what he wanted us to do. Okay, so let's get into our lesson today. So our lesson today, like I said, we're going to dive into our Father's word, and so we can get an understanding of what it means to be a doer of the word. So let's go to Edom Online and look up the word doer. Okay. Edom Online. He said, be a wordsmith. Be a wordsmith. It's Katie. He's in my head. Okay. So look up doer. So doer means one who does something, one who performs or executes. So it says one who does something, one who performs or execute. So our Father wants us to be in a position to execute his word, to be in a position to put his word into action, into play. Okay, is he wants us to follow it and actually obey it. Okay, So someone who does performs or executes an or active person, a person that is actively doing what it is that they're supposed to do, or doing what it is, of course, in this case, what our Father tells us to do. So now let's turn to the Gospel of James, and we're going to go to chapter 1, and we're going to read verses 22 and 25. So it's the Gospel of James, chapter 1, verses 22 through 25. And it reads, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, just to give some clarity of what it says. So verse 1, I'm sorry, Salakia. Let me do this. Actually, going to change it to King James Version. That's the version that our King likes for us to read from. Okay, so James I'm on the Gospel of James, chapter 1, verse 22. I'll start. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a bearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in the glass. Verse 24, for he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. Verse 25, but whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Okay, so imagine that you're walking past a mirror and you look at yourself. You're standing there and you start looking at yourself. And then you just you look at yourself, you watch yourself, and then you just walk away. And then you forget what you look like. Okay, how can you forget what you look like, right? And that's what it's saying in this passage. So you're fooling yourself, because it's like, how, you're like, okay, I forgot what I looked like in that moment. I don't even know what I look like. I just looked at myself. I don't know who that is. We start to begin to fool ourselves. So we can't just listen to his word. We have to put it into action, is what he's saying. We can't just sit there and just be spectators. We can't sit there and just listen. We have to be doers, not just listeners of his word, right? So James is urging us as Hebrew Israelites who listen to the Most High word to demonstrate a sincere commitment to the power by responding to what we hear with obedient action. Okay, so James, I'm going to say it one more time. James is urging us as Hebrew Israelites to listen to the Most High's word, to demonstrate a sincere commitment to power by responding to what we hear with obedient action. Okay, so now let's go to Edom Online, and we're going to look up the word obedient. So obedient in Edom Online means willing to serve someone, willing to fulfill an obligation. Okay, so we're willing as Hebrew Israelite princesses to serve our Father. Okay, in order to serve our Father, that means that we're being obedient to his word. That's what obedient means. We're following what he tells us to do. Okay, we're not just hearing it and listening to it, we're following it. Okay, so we're willing to comply with our Father's commands. Okay, so obedience is better than sacrifice. So the precept for that, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22. So 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22. So I think I spoke about this when I did wisdom. So we all know that Solomon is the father of wisdom, right? He's received the abundance of wisdom from our Father because of his sacrifice. Okay, so this speaks about the sacrifice that he gave up to the Father, right? It says, and Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Because he was giving the Father everything that he had. And when Father asked him, what it is that you would like from me, what do you want? He said, I just want wisdom and understanding, right? So for us, he's saying that to be obedient is better than that, to sacrificing, because he obeyed the Father's directive, his command, and gave his best. And by him giving his best, he wind up receiving what it is that he asked for, plus an abundance of more of other things. Okay, he got everything that he did not even ask for. Okay, and that's because of his obedience. Okay, so as Hebrew Israelite princesses, we learn the importance and blessing of obeying our Father. But those who choose to disobey lose out on Yahweh's blessings, okay? Or face devastating consequences. Okay, we face this devastating consequence that we're in right now, and that's called captivity. Okay, because of our disobedience back in the time, because we didn't listen, he turned his back on us, and he's like, okay, you're going to have to reap the consequences of your actions. And the consequences of being in this captivity, going through the things that we're going through right now. So it's just like with any parents. If you're not listening to your parent, if you one of those parents like mine were, you got your butt spanked, okay? Or you got something taken away, or you couldn't have anything. The same thing happens in this situation with our Father, but it's on a whole nother level, right? So if you choose to not obey him, and you choose not to follow his commandments, you choose not to put into action what he wants us to do, then there's consequences to face with that. You might be lacking, financially. You might be lacking health-wise. You never know what it is that might be occurring because of your disobedience to our Father. Like I said, right now, ours is captivity. However, we're nearing, because we're figuring out, and we have found out who we are, and we know who we are, and we're living by his word, hopefully, and we're being righteous. Okay, so all praises to Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai for his grace, right, and his mercy. All praises. So Salakia. So we must keep on becoming doers of the Most High's word. Genuine faith calls of obedience that endures. So when you genuinely have faith in our Father, that calls for obedience that endures. That means it's everlasting. Okay. Doers of the word are the opposite of someone who constantly listen to the edifying videos. You know, our KD, our shepherd, he teaches us the word daily. He tells us about ourselves from the word. Everything comes from the word. Everything comes from our Father. And then he also shares the current events to show that our Father's word is reigning true. What we've learned is coming to pass, right? We have our Royal House of David family members that are out there teaching and talking about the word, right? We're listening to their videos, right? So in that moment, doers of the word are the opposite of someone who constantly listens to the edifying videos, as I mentioned, and then view it as merely entertainment or a spiritual debate. Okay, we see that there's always some Pharisees or someone on there willing to want to debate with KD. Or even sometimes I get some of those crazy people that come on my videos and say the craziest things to me, right? So we have the spectators. They thinking this is entertainment. They thinking this is we're up to debate them the word that our Father has set forth, and that's not so. We're not here for that, right? We're here to share the truth to our family, the Royal House of David. And then we're preparing to move on. Okay, so there are people that are actually sitting here just to do that. They think that this is entertainment to them. They think this is funny. They think that we're crazy. We're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? They think that, what we're saying, which, I mean, if their eyes were open like ours are, they would realize that, okay, no, this is the truth. Look around you, right? Okay. So the Most High said that only doers of the word are truly blessed. So let's turn to the Gospel of Luke, chapter 11, verse 28. The Gospel of Luke, chapter 11, verse 28. Okay, and it reads, "But he said, ye rather blessed are they that hear the word of power and keep it." Now, this is Yahushua speaking. It's in red, right? So he's saying that, so James is stressing to us the need to act on what we hear. He lets us know that we are fooling ourselves if we think we can be hearers only and not doers of the word of as well. Okay, look where that got us. Okay, because we weren't doers, we weren't following our Father's word, we were doing what we normally would do. He turned his back on us. He placed us. We're in captivity. We became slaves. We got treated like, and we still getting treated like. Whether it's at the workhouse, whether it's at the your family members, is your children, life in general is kicking you in the ass. So it comes from, our disobedience. It comes from us not doing what our Father said to do. Okay, so if we genuinely and wholeheartedly love Yahushua like we say we do, then we will keep his commands. We will follow what our Father's word says. So let's go. Here's a precept. Let's go to Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 15. So the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 15, and it says, and it's our Father speaking again, "If ye love me, keep my commandments. If you love me, keep my commandments. Follow what I say. Do what I say. Get into my word. Read my word. Edify. As KD always talk about it, this is a meal. Chew on it, okay? Take your time. Chew on it. Taste it, okay? Then savor it, okay? And then you can, swallow it so it can get in you, so it can start to manifest and grow inside of you, so that way that you can show the Father that you love him. He knows that you love him by you keeping his commandments, by you living and breathing and following what his word says for you to do. All praises. So Yahushua wants us who hear his word to be authentic followers of them. Meaning he knows our heart, he knows our mind, he knows our moves, he knows everything that we're going to do. So he knows when you're lying, if we're lying, if we're faking, he knows all that. Okay, he knows that if we're for him or if we're not for him. He knows that. There's no faking. There's no hiding. There's no thinking that we're sneaking and getting away. You know how we, some of my sisters, I didn't do it because my daddy was very strict. However, I know I had some sisters, some friends that would sneak out the house, and they sneak back in before their parents woke up. And the parents didn't know they were gone. But guess who knows? You can't sneak around the Most High. You can't hide from the Most High. He knows. He created us. He knows what we're going to do before we do it. Okay? When we obey the Most High's teachings, he knows that we love him. Okay? He knows that his Hebrew Israelite princesses love him when we keep his commandments, when we follow his guidance, when we follow his word. Now, if you have a genuine man of the Lord, that's not a heathen or two-thirds, someone that's following, that's in this royal house of David, he knows who he is and he lives it also. And the person and he is he's being led by Hamashiach, And he's also treating you like a Hebrew Israelite princess, like you're supposed to be treated. And he's also guiding you, leading you with integrity, with love, with care, also with righteous judgment if he needs to. And that right there is you obeying and following. You're submitting to your king, who's actually being led by Hamashiach. Okay, all praises. So the gospel. Let's go to the Gospel of John, chapter 14, and we're going to read 23 through 24. So the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 23 reads, Yahushua answered and said unto him, If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode in him with him. Verse 24, He that loveth me keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. Okay, this is Yahushua speaking in this passage. So he that loveth me keepeth my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. So we're following what our Father's word is saying. And when he said make our abode, so we're going to do a wordsmith. Let's go look up Edom online. Let's see what abode means. Okay. So abode is action of waiting or to abide. Let me see. It's like a residence, is to live. Okay. So when Power is speaking, Yahushua is speaking, he's saying that if a man loves me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him. So he's saying keep his words because his Father, Yahweh, will love us. Okay. Remember, this is Yahushua speaking. And my Father will love him, and he will come unto him and make our abode with him. That means he would come unto us and he would live with us. Okay. We will become a part of him. Okay. All praises. So our Father Yahushua gave us a stern warning that who hear the words of Yahweh but don't act on them, not everyone that calls on his name will enter into the kingdom. So we can sit here and play with ourselves and thinking that because we're listening to the videos, that's all we need to do, which is not the case. We have to, like I said, I'm going to continue to say this because we have to be hearers, not just hearers, but doers of his word. So we have to put that into his word into action. So it says not everyone that call on his name is going to inherit the kingdom. Because we know we see them, we be like, Barakatah, Yahweh, all praises, when we hear the videos and we're listening. However, if we're not doing what we're supposed to do as Akwas, live how we're supposed to be living as Akwas, then we may not enter into the kingdom because he knows if your heart is for him or not. Okay, so let's go to Gospel of Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 through 27. So we're going to read the Gospel of Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 through 27. And it reads, and this is Yahushua speaking, Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Verse 22, Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have not we prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Verse 24, Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. Verse 25, And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house. And it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Okay. Verse 26, And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. So verse 27, and it says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So he's saying that if you are foolish and do not do what his word is saying to do, and you're just a hearer, it's like you're building your house on the sand, on top of sand. So we know sand is not solid, it's soft. Okay, and when you put water on the sand, guess what it becomes? It becomes sloppy. There's no solid consistency to it. So if it starts to rain and the wind starts to blow, of course your house is going to go. It's not going to make it because there's no foundation. It's not solid. But if you place, and if you are a doer, and then you're building your house, which is your body on top, if you're placing it on the rock, which your rock is Yahushua. Okay, he's your foundation. He's your sturdy foundation. So our sturdy foundation, we build our house upon that. Guess what happens when it starts to rain and when the wind starts to blow, or when so that's just similar to us facing our issues. You know, we start facing with stuff at work. We start dealing with our kids. Our kids that are very disrespectful. We seem like nothing's going right. It seems like every time you turned up, there's something happening. Those are your storms. That's that wind. But because you're placed, you're on that solid rock. You're blowing, but you're not moving off your square. You're steady in that foundation. Okay, that rock is your foundation. Our Father is our foundation. Okay, our men of the Lord are our foundation. Okay, they keep us stable. They keep us solid. Okay, and without that, then our house will be on sinking sand. It will be built on sand, which is something that's easily to be destroyed. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So, excuse me, select sisters. So James tells us in our powers commands to be doers of the word, and provided us with illustrations. So there was a negative one that he provided us. So when we read James 1, verses 23 to 24, he spoke about the man that looked intently at himself in the mirror, and he looked at his face in the mirror. James compared that listener who does not pay attention to someone who looks carefully at himself, but then walks away and forget what he looks like. That's weird how you forget what you look like. So that's compared to someone that's not listening. Okay, they just hear it and that's it. They not absorbing it. They not living it, breathing it. They're not meditating on it. They just hear it. It's like it goes in here and it goes right out of there, right? He disregards what he saw, letting it drop out of his mind. So there's a thing that says out of sight, out of mind. So it's like, so if you're not continually doing something, if you're not continuing on the forefront of your mind, then you start to lose it and you start to forget about it, and you won't do it. You know, so that's what's happening, you know, in this sense when we don't listen, when we just listen and we don't do. Okay, we're just listening. So the word may enter the person's ear, as I mentioned, but the power of it does not penetrate the heart. Okay, it just goes in one ear and out the other. Okay, oh, I'm listening, all praises, but you're not absorbing, and you're not living, and you're not breathing, and you're not following, and you're not comprehending what it is that we're supposed to do. A positive example that James used was, he described a listener who hears and absorbs Yahushai's word by taking it into heart and letting it change his life. That means your mind was renewed and transformed. That means the things that you used to do that was not pleasing to our Father is done away. You know, because he's in the process now of coming back to us. And that means that, okay, we're on track. We're doing his word. We're following his word. We're being righteous. We're being led and guided by our man of the Lord. We're listening. We're obeying. We're being submissive. We're being everything that we're supposed to be. Okay, that our power says for us to be as Hebrew Israelite princesses. Okay, we're following his word, right? So our life should be changed now. That means we shouldn't be smoking weed. We shouldn't be promiscuous. We shouldn't be treating our men of the Lord bad. I said men of the Lord. I'm not talking about the heathen or the 2/3. I'm speaking of a true man of the Lord. We should be listening. We should be studying. We should be fellowshipping with, I say fellowshipping, it's kind of a Christian word, but I don't like that word. But it's another word I couldn't say. But being on one accord, being on one same page with your Hebrew Israelite sisters, with your man of the Lord, with your Hebrew Israelite family. We should all be on the same page. Okay. So I'm going to stop this one right here, and it's going to be a part 2. Because doer is very important that we understand now, especially now that we're at the end and the tail end, that what is expected of us as Hebrew Israelite princesses, as far as being doers and not just hearers. Okay, so I'm going to come back with a part 2 of this, and I just want to say I pray that we continue to meditate on the word. We continue to chew on the word. We're going to let it absorb it. We're going to absorb it. We're going to meditate. And we're going to practice it. Okay, so it's the only way that we can be transformed and also be ready to transcend. Okay, so shalom. I love you, my aquas. I'll be right back with part 2 of being a doer. Okay, shalom. I love you guys with my whole heart. See you in a moment.